Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to today's video, which is a Q&A video in celebrating our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Note that there will be a Friday Twitch stream and a Saturday Twitch stream as well. The current plan, unless something changes, which I'm hoping not, but there could be something that changes. So if something does, I will definitely make a shout out regarding that. And then I need to make a quick note regarding the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Some of you are going to be receiving doubloons. Others have wished for doubloons instead of ship. And Wargaming, apparently June, July is not the time to do giveaways because they've purposely changed things in the premium shop online where I cannot give like an example of 5,000 doubloons as a gift. And they took away the purchase any amount of doubloons also. So then for the random amounts of doubloons, like 5,300 doubloons for the cost of Agincourt, it's not an option. And I tried to do like a 5,000 doubloon and a 500 doubloon option, but then I can't give 5,000 doubloons away as a gift. And it's all because of the summer festival they're doing with the summer tokens. So yeah, so if you're wanting those who want doubloons or they want doubloons instead of the ship, I can't give you the doubloons until Wargaming ends the summer festival event in the premium shop for me to then actually credit the rewards. So I'm sorry, I tried looking on AU and NA and they both disabled the gift options. If you're straight just buying doubloons, you could buy other things as gifts if it's a blend of like doubloons and credits or doubloons and premium time as an example. But if it's a straight up doubloons, like you can't purchase that as a gift for anyone. So I apologize for that. I had no clue that Wargaming did that. Apparently, I was talking about Admin, Midnight Phoenix, and they did that last year, or they've done it previous years. So apologies for that. So we'll talk and get that figured out. But for today's video is Q&A. So time to get to those questions. So hopefully some I'll be able to answer, some I might not specifically know the precise answers on, but I'm sure maybe there's other people who can help me in the comments regarding some of the questions that I've went ahead and pre-scanned through. But among the first questions we got, we'll start with YouTube comments for the YouTube Q&A video I posted up last week. Is there any tutorial about how the flags work and how to upgrade your captain? I just started playing World of Warships. Yes. In terms, it depends on the tutorial you want. There's a tutorial, I think, like you can just research via the World of Warships wiki, World of Warships combat signals, World of Warships commanders with the wiki, and they will give you some explanations there. The other thing is, if you just started playing, I would encourage you to check out my new player guide series. It's been one of among my most successful playlists or video series that I've done. And then I've also, in that video series, I don't know where at, but I know I've talked about the combat signal flags, at least I should have. And then I've talked in general about upgrading your captain, your commanders. And then, of course, I do these Saturday upgrading commander build videos. But granted, some of that stuff in that new player guide series is probably outdated now, especially the earlier stuff, because there's been some commander reworks and Wargaming has changed some things several times since then. So those videos are a little outdated. Probably wouldn't hurt if I actually redid another video, an updated one for 2024. Maybe just talking about explaining how this combat signals work. I mean, if you just hover your mouse over them, you'll see how they work. But of course, if you're a player, it might be a little confusing still if you're not sure how different characteristics work in the game. And then maybe I could even make a new commander video of how to upgrade your captain. There's several ways to do it, but there's a WoW's wiki. You can probably YouTube search both those questions and get some things up by different World of Warships content creators, even beyond myself. So you can search on my YouTube channel specifically, but the new player guide series might have some content on that. I should have at least talked through that, but maybe I didn't with the combat signals, and maybe I can look at making an updated one for 2024. If there are people interested in me making that type of video, let me know. See, that was 60 trick Paw. Trapper asks, have you enjoyed the D-Day operations? And then do you think support consumables might become a permanent thing in World Warships in some form? Have I enjoyed the D-Day operations? The first one I did somewhat enjoy. I mean, once... this is the thing with that op. NA was actually, I felt... This could be wrong. It could have been the day I was playing. I felt NA figured it out a little bit quicker because a lot of the NA server people have Flints or Atlantas, and that was kind of the way to go. When I played it on EU, you know, Flint, Atlanta, those American ships, but there's no one taking Flints and Atlantas, and I've tried playing it for sometimes on the EU several times. It failed multiple times despite trying to do what I could with what ship I had. Or you just get like a few stars and that's it. So I think it was a combination of, I did enjoy it, but it felt like, you know, you just take a cruiser, something with decent DPM, rate of fire to deal with the boats charging you. You know, you wouldn't take the slow, you know, you don't take a Queen Elizabeth to that first operation, and yet players were crying about being murdered in their Queen Elizabeth, and it's like, well, you're in a big slow battleship and you have PT boats running up on you. Like, it's not a fair fight. Don't take slow battleships in this operation. I somewhat enjoyed the first one. The second one has been boring to me with the German destroyers. Just the lack of different types of ships you can take. So it feels very one-dimensional, and just being able to take German destroyers and you can't like just change up and try something different. So the second op has been boring to me, personally. So it's been okay. It's just it's been interesting to see how Wargaming has implemented those. Do I think support consumables might become a more permanent thing in World Warships in some form? I mean, when shoot, what was the name of the event? The battle mode, the Pinata event. When Wargaming introduced the support consumables via the Pinata event, like I would have bet money. I was like, they're testing it. They want to introduce it. They're using a battle type game mode as a testing base field on the player base to see how players interact with the support consumables and balance them, because they want to do something with them. I didn't know what they want to do, but I knew that they were looking to bring them in some shape or form into the game. And then they gave you the reason. They wanted to put in clan battles. And then, you know, Wargaming, with their spaghetti coding, they broke several things, and you had players that weren't able to die, who figured out different ways of tricking the system, where they would have, was it 0 hit points or 1 hit point and not die? I think Flamu and other people illustrated how it worked, and it was in the WoW's Reddits, the forums, whatever. So Wargaming, this is the thing I understand about Wargaming, or in probably any game developer. They don't test things for the fun of it without thinking about how to implement maybe this in some way, shape, or form into the game. I wouldn't be surprised if it became a permanent thing in the game, in the sense that it's maybe tied to an event. Maybe it's like once every quarter or a couple times a year, you see the support consumables in some type of battle event. I mean, maybe they bring Pinata Battle type back next year. It didn't seem like it went really over well with clan battles, from my understanding. And our clan on NA was like, we don't want to play clan battles with this because this is like dumb. So I think Wargaming kind of missed the mark on that, because it seemed like a lot of clans wanted to step out of it and they didn't want to deal with the support consumables and clan battles. But I digress. Yeah, I think so. I don't know what it will look like. I don't think it will be something that's on a permanent, like, weekly basis or monthly basis. I think it'll probably be something in iterations that they'll do. User ZZ2 on 9 years, 9 months ask, or sorry, 9-9-0, 9YS, 9YO, ask, which is the cheapest battleship line to grind, cost-wise and ship XP-wise? And as I don't have any tier 10 battleships, which one should I grind? This, I looked in the game, and it's hard because they alter the well, not so much the XP, let's talk about XP first. From what I can tell, I think Yamato is the cheapest ship line to grind in terms of XP, but it's like so minute difference. Like it's like 6,000, maybe it's like 6,000 XP different from the Bungo, the other alternate line for the Japanese battleships, because Yamato's 249,000 XP, Bungo's 255,000, and I think before that, then they're like, what is it, like 180, then it's like 140,000 for both, and so on and so forth. And then all the other tier 10 battleships were 250, I think they were all 255, and I think Republic was actually like 260,000 XP. So, I mean, once you start talking about 249,000 XP to 260,000 XP, I mean, it's not like a massive difference when we're talking about 11,000 XP. You know, maybe it's just a game or two more of random battles, depending on what type of economic boosters you're looking at. You know, maybe it's with a green booster, it's, I don't know, depending on how well you do, maybe let's say it's 3 or 4 battles. Like, if you're just, I don't know, maybe it's just, let's just say it's 3 or 4 battles difference. But in terms of cost-wise, I looked and it was really hard to tell because they fluctuate the prices. So like Yamato, or no, was it? They did something funky with the, like, again, the Japanese battleship line, where like if it was the tier 8 Amagi, I don't remember which way it was. Tier 8 Amagi was like a little bit more expensive than the tier 8 what was it called? Or maybe it was cheaper? Yeah, cheaper than the tier 8. It's not the Adatara, I don't remember the tier 8 one. And then I think Izumo was like more expensive than the Adatara, and then Yamato was slightly more cheaper than Bungo. But then once you like look at the price differences, they're actually quite close credit-wise. And I don't know, I looked at the other ship lines to try to get a feel, and it seemed like a lot of the costs were similar. I mean, what if you can't buy, if you're not in a clan, you don't have any of the, it's cheaper if you're in a clan to buy these ships cost-wise. If the naval base, your clan base has research different parts of the naval base of your clan, and it makes the ship cost cheaper. So I think it was like either I think it was the cheapest battleship I saw was 20,600,000 credits, or if you like had a clan, you're in a clan like both of my EU and my NA clan that I'm in, they have it fully researched for cheap costs to be reduced. So then I think it was like 17,510,000, I think. And then there were some other ships that were, you know, if you weren't getting the reduced costs, they're like 21 million and maybe slightly higher. So I don't know, but they're all really close, is what I would say. But I think maybe Republic is among the more expensive. So I'm sorry that I don't have like an exact answer. This is something that I was referencing, maybe other... I tried to look to see if there was some type of chart or something that they had, like what's the cheapest tier 10 battleship line to grind, but I wasn't successful in finding anything. But I'm sure probably someone knows, because like people talk about like Harugumo is the cheapest ship to XP grind, the destroyer, just because a lot of people use that as a research bureau and resetting it. So I knew that one, but in terms of the other classes, I just don't. And you're talking about, as I don't have a tier 10 battleship, which one should I grind? I mean, it can depend upon you, of course. I think if I was to do it over again, like my first line I grinded for a tier 10 battleship was Montana. If I were to do it over again, I would do Conqueror, the tier 10 British battleship. And why do I say Conqueror? Why do I say that line? They buffed Monarch recently. I think they gave it the super heal, so it's a little more bearable playing the tier 8 Monarch. And then what's the tier 9? I just forgot what the tier 9 British battleship is. I have to look up. Lion, yeah. I think they buffed the Lion not too long ago too, somehow. But what that line does really well is that there's good AP characteristics. particularly with Conqueror, right? You have 12 guns total. I'm going to pull it up now. Conqueror. Yeah, 12 419mm guns. You know, the standard 30-second reload time. You have AP is great. The high explosive is awesome, especially if you want to farm damage among the higher tier and just setting ships on fire, because the high explosive does 40% chance of causing a fire without taking any combat signals that would increase your chances of setting fire. I mean, I think you could technically get Conqueror up to 51% if I'm looking at this right. Don't we get that's inertia fuse? Yeah, it would be 51%. So if I could do it all over again, I would do Conqueror. It's got good guns. That line has good guns. It teaches you the value of switching between a high explosive and armor piercing. I mean, Montana does that too as well. But Conqueror is a little bit more forgiving in the sense that you get a super heal. Now, granted, you don't have as many hit points as compared to something like Montana, Yamato, or Preußen, as an example. But it's pretty forgiving. As long as you angle well, you know, the ship's pretty simple to play. You're not loaded down with a lot of different consumables. It's a specialized repair party. It's a damage control party. And 12 guns, and angle accordingly. Know to switch between high explosive and armor piercing when either of those will favor you. I mean, you can HE Citadel, like super light cruisers like Minotaur, as an example. You won't over pin them with high explosive because you can Citadel them. But then with those 419s, 419mm guns, you know, just over 16-inch guns, you can still do a lot of pin damage to cruisers and that. So I would recommend Conqueror as a first line to grind. I quite like playing it more than most the tech tree tier 10 battleships in the game. Yeah, Conqueror. Okay, Crow917 asks, when did you start playing World of Warships? What drove you to it? Then you became a community contributor. When and how? Okay, I'll get to the second part of that. But the first, when did I start playing World of Warships and what drove me to it? I started playing World of Warships in the fall of 2019. That's when I got my first ever PC. Before that, I just had like laptops in college and that. But I decided to get a PC. And part of the reason why I wanted to get a PC was because of World of Warships. And why was that? Somehow, I managed to stumble across the Mighty Jingles. It was a combination of the Mighty Jingles and the fact that I'm a naval war history nerd that drove me to want to play a game, naval warfare game. So when I stumbled across the Mighty Jingles, I really liked his commentary, him talking about the game. He's still among my favorite WoW's content creators. He's like, it's hard to pick between him and the Sailing Robin, because Sailing Robin is just awesome. But, you know, Jingles has just been phenomenal. I love him. So it was him and the fact that I'm a naval war history nerd, like my grandfather. He served caught the end of World War II in the Navy. Then he served in the Korean War. I think he served on the USS Rochester mainly. I had a great uncle, Nelson, that served in most of all of World War II in the Atlantic Theater. So he actually got to, I think it was the day after. I don't know if he actually saw it happen, like Mussolini hang. And so he had some like cool pictures and stuff. So yeah, so that is why drove me to playing World of Warships. And then you say, then I became a CC, which I'm assuming you mean, no. You say community, you said CC. Do you mean community contributor or content creator? When and how? Oh, I don't know what you mean, because people use that acronym both ways. And I just thought of community contributor when you asked that. I didn't think of content creator. Okay, I'll try to answer both and not take a long time to do that. I'm gonna assume you mean content creator because I know you've been following me for a while, and I think you know I'm not a community contributor. But a content creator, that happened in the fall of 2020. It was, you know, COVID. I was really bored. I didn't have a lot to do because a lot of life was shut down here in Norway. So I thought, you know, I would like to try to make perhaps some helpful videos in starting a YouTube channel. I didn't really have any goals, just to help, and I enjoyed the community. And it sharpened my skills in a lot of ways. I've learned a lot. My first YouTube videos, I mean, I think everyone can say this, perhaps, but when you first start to become a YouTuber, a content creator, I mean, I cringe when I think about some of my earlier content, that I didn't always necessarily know exactly what I was talking about, or that I was just too, it was just because I didn't know. I wouldn't say it was necessarily, I don't know, ignorance is bliss, but I didn't quite understand how all the characteristics in the game worked when I started a YouTube channel. But it's trial by error. So yeah, so it was fall 2019. Fall 2020. Became a content creator, and yeah, just kind of stuck with it since. So I'm pretty sure you probably mean content creator, I'm guessing. But if you're asking about community contributor, I'm not a community contributor in the World of Warships program. I've been asked periodically about that. People recommending me and speaking on my behalf, I guess, without me even asking them, to talk with different community managers in NA back in the day. And I just never had a desire to. I think the game is a lot of things that we've seen over the last years, and we've with community contributor exodus. I mean, that was pretty clear how Wargaming thought of their contributors, especially the little white mouse. There was never a doubt in my mind that I'd ever want to become a community contributor, and even before that, I didn't like certain things that Wargaming was doing, becoming more heavily monetized towards a game that at the time was as early as, the Pan-European Game Information Board 7-year-olds could play, and you had the gambling and the loot boxes and how they did the Missouri event and the Puerto Rico dumpster fire, how they treated, there was another content YouTube community, I think he's still a community contributor. No, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name right now. Yeah, and how Wargaming kind of didn't care for him either and treated him. I'm not talking about Flamu. He loves playing GK. He does some good videos. I think he has like a mascot. Was it Danny Chi? Why am I spacing his name right now? I follow him. I like his content. I don't think I've watched too much of his stuff lately. I'm trying to see if I actually have him here in my YouTube subscribers, because it's actually driving me up the wall that I can't remember his name. Yep. I should be subscribed. I thought I just saw it. I have no idea. I do not see it. I mean, and then you have, Daniel Versov. Thank you. Gosh, dang. I can't believe I was spacing his name. I could think of Danny. Then, you had things with other content creators. I'll just leave their names out. So it's just seeing how Wargaming viewed the community contributor program, and just seeing how you've been hearing how Jingles spoke of it. I respect his opinion quite highly in the World of Warships community. So just never have a desire, never will want to become a community contributor, just with how Wargaming has done things. Moving on. Matthew Cassidy asks, is there a ship or tech tree line that looking back was a waste of your time, effort? I had to think a little bit on that, and so I went into the game to look at the tech tree lines to see what I've grinded. That I actually grinded and just put time and investment in, because I would easily say a CV line like Midway, because I'm just not a CV player, but I free XP'd that, didn't really grind that. I would honestly say the Colombo, the tier 10 Titan battleship. Now the thing is, I think that battleship is the best in the entire line. The tier 6, the tier 7, the tier 8, the tier 9, I hated grinding that entire line. It was just painful. I just really didn't like it at all. Colombo I like. I think it's a decent battleship. It's fun having 16 guns with the SAP, where the 381mm guns. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. So yeah, so I think it would be Colombo. Now I kind of wonder if it would be like the tier 10 Italian destroyer line once I grind it, because nothing has aspired or drawn me to grind that line. So I've not messed with it at all. I'm checking the guns. Yeah, 381mm guns. The tier 10 Rigaldo. So I don't know if I'll feel like that will be the line that replaces it, but yeah, I feel like the Colombo line. Colombo's good, but I hated grinding every ship before that. It just felt just pain. Cananis ask. Oh yeah, you have a longer comment here. I can't remember it. The question, my real life question is, why are you at Norway instead of any other country? It starts with Mrs. Flimsy. She has actually ancestry come from the region of Telemark, southeastern Norway, and her grandparents did an ancestry trip to Norway, Sweden, and Finland some years ago. They brought pictures back, and she just really fell in love with the pictures of Norway. And her biggest dream and heart was to go to Norway one day. So she eventually did, fell in love with the country. And then, the short answer is because of love. She is American. She's not Norwegian. And so when we started dating, she was upfront with me, like, hey, like, my plan is to go to Norway one day. And I said, hey, like, I didn't say no, I didn't say yes, but I said I'll be open to it. So then came, and I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with the country. It's such a beautiful country. We live in the Stavanger region of Norway. So yeah, it just kind of, that was an instant. I was so surprised too, because I grew up a hardcore country boy, and I just like, I'll probably move to Tennessee from, my home state's Indiana. I was like, I'll probably move in Tennessee. I thought I'd get involved in the music scene, because it's part of what I went to college for is music media production. And so I just thought I would maybe do some songwriting, do some music sound engineering. Wanted to have like a small ranch, horses, that kind of stuff. That was what I envisioned, right? And then when you meet a girl and everything changes. But I was surprised and shocked when I came here to Norway for the first time with Mrs. Whimsy, that I just felt such a peace. It was so quiet. It's not really loud culture here. Maybe even in Oslo, you're of course downtown Stavanger at night, then yeah, it's going to be really loud. But just really peaceful living, peaceful life. And you said, why not any other country? I mean, of course, the USA is, that's always a place to go to. The goal is to get dual citizenship. I want to be here in Norway, I think, probably for the rest of life. Everything goes according to our thoughts and plans. But I've been to a couple other European countries. I've been to Denmark, I've been to Germany. Where else I've been to Canada, but of course that's not Europe. I've been to Thailand. But yeah, no, Norway's just always been great. I mean, it'd be either the Norway or the US. I don't really think I would want to go anywhere else besides these two countries. So yeah. World of Warships question: beside the campaigns and getting high numbers fast for the dry dark and other missions, what are the incentives to go from tier 6 through tech tree and play top tier ships? I personally enjoy tiers 5, 6. My only tier 7 and 8 ships are 2 prizes I found in those breakfast cereal boxes that Wargaming empties of cereals. Free boxes, of course, as I'm not a fish to take that bait. I forgot the Bishkabisha, the Polish destroyer. Oh yeah, which I got with Cole. I always think of that as like Blisk, whatever. What are the incentives to go beyond? Honestly, I think you hit it pretty well. Besides the campaigns, getting higher numbers faster for dry dock and other missions. I mean, if you want to be in competitive, like you want to play clan battles, you want to play ranked, more the competitive scene, that's an incentive to be playing more of the high tier ships, 8, 9, and 10 in the game. I'm trying to think of other incentives. Those are ones that immediately come to my head. I mean, sometimes there'll be different game mode events that are more for the high tier ships, but sometimes you can, Wargaming will let you have access and playing those ships for it. Yeah, there's not a lot of incentives. I mean, you get to, oh, I guess the other incentive is like you get to play more of those historical warships. Like if you want to play Yamato, you want to play Iowa, you know, Des Moines, you know, there's a lot of other ships in the game, historical ships, if you want to play them. Not that they're historically balanced by any means. So it's probably more the incentives, because then, of course, once you hit tier 10, pretty expensive to play. Then super ships are just really expensive to play in the game. So, I mean, honestly, I think what you said, you know, you enjoy playing tiers 5 and 6. Like, that's great. You know, honestly, I drop down and I play the mid tiers periodically. I even drop down and playing tier 3, tier 4, because then you're not seeing submarines. And if you go tier 2, you definitely don't see CVs. I think you get protected matchmaking up till tier 5. So it's like at tier 4 you only see one tier up, and then tier 5 you can see tier 7s, and that can be painful sometimes. But the game is a lot slower at the mid tiers. Especially, you know, if you get to take tier 6, 7, 8 and play in ops, right? So I think the game's more enjoyable. I don't see as much of a toxic crowd in the mid and low tiers of World of Warships. So hey, if you really like playing tiers 5 and 6, like, great, that's for it. Otherwise, I think you hit it on the head. Campaigns, higher numbers, faster for dry dock and other missions. There's an incentive if you want to play competitive clan battles, ranked, play other historical ships, right? But you could do that in co-op if you don't really want the PvP experience, right? So, yeah, I think that hits that pretty well. I'm going to hop over to the Discord server. I think we're getting close to being done. I had a Q&A channel here as well. Josh Webb was being... is my EU gnome clan commander. He's very cheeky and creative in how he asked me 4 questions, with the Elijah Wood asking if he wears a wig. Because it's creative, I'll allow his 4 questions. I think basically asking, do you play CVs? Have you played CVs? Will you play CVs? When will you play CVs? Do I play CVs? Yes, periodically. I do it more. I've actually been doing it in operations as of late. So like I think I just took Graph Zeppelin out just for the secondary memes. Like I'm doing 53,000 damage with secondaries and ops. Yorktown, I take into ops. I play CVs more in ops because I wish not to necessarily unleash them on the player base, and that I don't always know exactly what I'm doing. I think Ranger was the most CV I've played, but I know I know what you should do to be good in the CV, but I'm not always the best in executing it. So I need to actually play CVs a little more in randoms. I'd probably do it at tier 4. I wouldn't go beyond tier 6 because as the player base gets better with CVs, my CV stats get worse. I got it back up to 50%, and then now I think I'm like 49, 48%. So it kind of bugs me that CVs I'm like, I look terrible in a little bit. So I do play CVs. I have played CVs. Will I play CVs? Yes, I'll continue to play them, but mostly in ops or low tier. Just because, you know, matches can be decided in World of Warships if the enemy team, if one team has a highly skilled Unicum CV player versus an absolute total or absolute potato CV player. I don't think I'm an absolute potato CV player. I think I'm quite average, but even if you put an average CV player up against a Unicum, Super Unicum CV player, I mean, they can decide matches. And I think CVs, you know how I feel about CVs, Josh. You know how I feel about CVs. And when will I play CVs? Yeah, it'll happen from time to time. February asks thoughts on Norwegian food. Generally speaking, I have to figure out how to answer this one wisely. Okay, let me answer it in 2 perspectives. Okay, I'm gonna answer it in the American perspective first. Generally speaking, I find Norwegian food to be lacking in taste. I don't feel that they put a lot of seasons and spices in their foods. I'm sometimes perplexed in what I see. Like, I was at a place not too long ago. It was like a work-related event, and the definition of a salad was lettuce and corn. And here's some, I think it was just a little cup of dressing. Wasn't really exciting. I feel like most the certain foods, they're either be really salted or they just don't have a lot of taste. I mean, granted, I think there are great foods. You know, salmon is, it's pretty hard to mess up salmon, I think, but of course you can find a way. The breads here are really good. I know cheeses are a big thing here in Norway, but like I don't really eat much cheese at all. Like they have brown cheese here, that's a thing, but it's quite caramelized and I didn't care for it too much. So, and generally speaking, in American perspective, I'm not super fond of Norwegian foods, but I love fish, and so this has been an excellent place for me to enjoy more fish and eat Norwegian salmon for like really cheap compared to what I could get it in the US. But I think generally speaking, it's quite bland and it lacks in a lot of seasons and flavors. So Norwegians who are hearing me say that, don't hate on me for that. But I think in the perspective of being here for 4.5 years in Norway, I mean, I understand culturally why certain things are the way they are. Like they have some other traditional foods like, was it ribba? That's like, I really hope I'm saying this right. I think it's just pork, but it's like super salted. And then you're either ribba or, I've had a really long day, guys. I'm sorry. There's two crowds of people. I think there's a porridge they have, and then I'm sorry, guys. I had a rough day this morning, so I'm mentally exhausted. I can't remember the other one, so forgive me for those who are here in Norway and like, Flimsy, how can you not remember what the two groupings are? I know there's a porridge or rice porridge. There's the ribba. Let me just see if I can Google here. What are the traditional competing foods of Norway? Let's see if it will actually, if I can find out. Yeah, there's, what is it, farikal, a dish made up of boiled mutton and cabbage served with boiled potatoes. Potatoes are quite popular here. And it's very popular in the country, has been voted the national dish twice. Most food you'll find be simply prepared, very lightly seasoned. Since the culinary standard in Norway is to rely on the flavor of the food themselves, still this causes many visitors to think Norwegian food is bland. See, that's me saying an American perspective. But I would say overall Norwegians really don't like change. They don't need a lot of variety in things. They're like, yeah, like what we have is good, and we stick with what is good. And there's kind of a beauty and simplicity in that. So as living here in Norway for some years now, I understand that Norwegian perspective, but in the American perspective, as kind of this article just said, in general, as an outsider, I find the food to be a bit more bland compared to what you can get at restaurants and stuff, stores in the US, but it's a lot less heavily processed. Like I eat way healthier in Norway than I do in the US. That's a thing. Like I definitely eat healthier here, a lot less fried food. But there's this thing called Norwegian chocolate. Oh, Norwegian chocolate is so much better than like American chocolate, like better than Kit Kat, Reese's, Hershey bars. They got nothing on free chocolate here. And Kvik Lunch, which is like the Norwegian version of Kit Kat. It's the bomb. The milk chocolate here, it's so good. Ain't got nothing. The chocolate industry here is awesome. Got nothing on the US. Or US ain't got nothing on Norway chocolate. So that's one of my favorite things. My mom is absolutely insanely in love with this Fria Norwegian chocolate. I took her some back when I was in the US earlier this year, and I took her a lot. I mean, like a lot, and she cleaned it out in just like a few weeks. And like I hadn't even come back to Norway yet, and I was like, Mom, you ate everything I already gave you. Void is being cheeky and asking, what is my favorite CV? My favorite CV. Of the CVs I've played, you're probably going to guess this one, perhaps. But probably I'd just tell you Graf Zeppelin, just because I think it's such a fun CV to play between, like, not just for the necessary for the planes with like the AP dive bombers, but literally the secondaries. That's I would just tell you Graf Zeppelin is my favorite CV for warships. And then February asks, what is my opinion on the I guess this is I don't know if this is Armored Warfare related question, or if this is just a in real life related question on the T-72B main battle tank. If it's Armored Warfare related, I'm looking that up right now. So it's the Tier 6. Shoot, I don't know if I think I played this one, right? Yep. I meant to look that up before recording this video, and I did not. T-72. It's not coming up in my channel content. Let me look up the tank just in general. If it's Armored Warfare, I don't actually know if I played it yet or not. In real life, if that's your question, yeah, it's Soviet main battle tank. I don't know. I know more about American tanks and German tanks. I was actually just in the Panzer German Tank Museum back in March, and it was awesome. That is an amazing. If you're ever in, it's southeast of. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. I've had a really long day, and I'm really bad at remembering things right now. Apparently, was the southeast of Frankfurt, right? German Panzer, or is it Hamburg? Southeast of Hamburg. I'm looking now. Yeah, it's, well, I say southeast. It's directly south of Hamburg. The Germans are gonna rake me over the coals for trying to say this. The Deutsches Panzer Museum Monster. If you're ever in the Hamburg area, or you're north of Hanover, east of Bremen, that is an awesome place. I think they have a T-72B there. That was cool to see. But in general, I don't know if I can really tell you, February, if I have too much thoughts on the tank. I think in being a noob, I'm like, tank looks cool, but I don't know a whole bunch about it. I don't know if I've played it in Armored Warfare yet. I like playing main battle tanks, and I like playing AFVs or light tanks even in Armored Warfare. But yeah. Sorry, I went on a little tangent there with the other. So, yeah, this video is already, wow, 43 minutes long. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and cap the video on the head now, because I believe I've gone through all the questions here. So yeah, so if there's other things you guys are interested about, or you can speak in a little bit more about the cheapest tier 10 ship XP battleship. I think that was the question, right? It was a battleship, cheapest tier 10 battleship to grind. Yeah, then XP wise and cost wise, please throw in the comments so user ZZ2U19YS90 knows. But I would recommend you to grind the Conqueror, I think. But people may feel different. Conqueror is good, Montana is good, but I just enjoy playing Conqueror a bit more than Montana, in my personal opinion. So anyhow, that being said, I hope you liked today's Q&A. Maybe I went more at length for certain things, but I hope you guys didn't mind. So if you liked today's video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you haven't subscribed, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you to my Patreon supporters, and I will say something more about the Twitch streams. The plan is still mentally to have them Friday, Saturday, but there's some things that are going on right now in real life with Senior Flimsy, so I might have to postpone them a week. I might. Okay, I might. And don't hate me if I have to postpone them over a week, but yeah, sometimes I can't control things in life, and it is what it is. So until the video tomorrow, I guess, we'll catch you then. Take care.